this fragrance right here, oh my lord, a lot of you dragged me in the comments because I wasn't able to pronounce the name. You can hardly get anything quite as good as this. Are any of you really excited to start wearing your super warm Christmas holiday fragrances? I definitely am. Now that the weather is starting to cool down quite a bit, I'm able to wear a lot warmer, richer, just lovelier, cozier kind of fragrances. So these are all unisex, by the way, so any males, females watching, all of you guys will be able to take something from this video. So without further ado, we'll just jump straight into it. The first one that I wanted to highlight is one that I've kind of recently discovered. I really love L'Artisan Parfumeur. I've loved them for quite a number of years, but it's taken me some time to kind of like realize which fragrances work for me, which fragrances don't. And with them being quite a niche house, although they are kind of like under the same group as Penhaligons and all of that, they do kind of change a lot, and they have various different, you know, obviously olfactive profiles, and sometimes it can be a hard house to find a fragrance for you. However, I have one here which is beautiful. It has hazelnut, it has licorice, which normally I'm not a fan of licorice, but this one is really nice. Sandalwood, some warmer notes. So this one is called Mechant Loup, if that's how I pronounce it, from L'Artisan Parfumeur. And this is a beautiful, nutty, warm, woody, slightly sweet concoction. I really love about this fragrance is that it's just teetering on the edge of becoming gourmand, but it's not quite gourmand, and I really like that about it. It's not that sickly sweet praline style chocolatey vanillin-esque fragrance. This is just leaps and bounds beyond that. What is really apparent to me is the hazelnut, and the hazelnut in here is toasted, kind of gives it a bit of a Nutella vibe. So if you guys can just picture Nutella, mix that with a very soft sandalwood note, and the sandalwood here is very interesting. It kind of gives me pencil shavings vibe, but also a very soft muskiness, which kind of detracts from the warmth of the hazelnut. So it kind of plays like a really funny game of cold and hot at the same time, cold and warm, where it has the warmth of the praline, the hazelnut, but then it also has the coolness of the pencil shaving, sandalwood, muskiness kind of undertone. So overall, if you guys quite like a woody based fragrance but it has a little bit added sweetness and a little bit of nuttiness, this is a really great choice. It kind of is like a toned down version of like a Guidance from Amouage, a lot woodier and a lot more nutty than a Guidance, and it's really wearable. It lasts quite well on the skin, and it just kind of goes into this very soft, buttery type of feeling. What I also love about this is the fact that it's super unisex. So, for example, if you as a woman like more woody based fragrances, then this is a really great option. If you're a guy and if you like more nutty, almost leaning into that gourmand but not quite gourmand, this is also a fantastic option. So overall, this is a beautiful fragrance. So that is Mechant Loup from L'Artisan Parfumeur. Leaning into that nutty theme, we have a fragrance here which is gorgeous, and this one always will be in my top 10 winter list forever. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous fragrance, and again, it kind of goes into that gourmand realm without it going too gourmand, too cakey, too sweet. So this is called 1970 from Rosendo Mateu, and this is a really beautiful concoction of tonka. Wow, this is so good. Chocolate like cacao, not pure chocolate like milky chocolate, but more cacao, mixed with these beautiful woody aspects, maybe some patchouli in the base, some incensey things going on in here. This is just gorgeousness in a bottle. It's like literal dark cocoa mixed with this beautiful milky tonka. It apparently has some lactonic notes in here, which definitely you can pick up on because it has this underlying milkiness and lactonic vibe without it going again into the super gourmand realm. And what is also really interesting is you kind of get this incensey, slightly smoky vibe towards the base, and I don't know whether that's coming from maybe an actual incense note or some other wood, like a cedar for example, which is just adding to this smokiness. Apparently you have a little bit of oud in here as well, which you can definitely pick up on, but again, it's not that barnyardy, unwearable oud. So this to me is as if you've just gone to this luxurious bar downtown, somewhere quite dank, dark, mysterious, and you're getting like an espresso martini. I know espresso martinis have coffee, by the way, I completely get that, but it almost has like that like nutty, like super rich, chocolatey, luxurious kind of vibe, if you see what I mean. So this on its own is just beautiful. You can always pair it with maybe a heavier vanilla fragrance if you do want it to go into that gourmand realm, but by itself it's just beauty in the bottle. So if you guys are into more woodier, nuttier fragrances with a dash of cocoa dark chocolate in there, this would be a really great alternative. And as I said, this is a great nighttime wear. This is again super unisex, so for any men watching, if you're into more smokier fragrances, this is a really great choice. For any women watching, if you like your chocolate cocoa scents, this is also a fantastic choice for you. So from Rosendo Mateu, we have 1970. Since we spoke about coffee and tonka, I thought I would feature this fragrance. I actually already featured it, I think, in my autumnal fragrance video. So for any guys who've already watched that, maybe this might be a bit redundant, but this is for anyone who is a super seeker of niche, underappreciated fragrances out there, and this is from a house of Maison. So this one is called God and Moon, and I've already featured this on my channel. This is a very beautiful coffee, honey, plum scent. It's nutty, it's warm, it's luxurious. It has this level of sweetness which is coming from this dried plum note alongside this honey, and it's just a really gorgeous cocooning fragrance. Also has like a bit of woodiness and smokiness to it, so it's a fragrance that is actually really hard to describe, but if you know that kind of note profile where it goes to this sticky plum into this smoky kind of realm, and as I've said before, it kind of reminds me of like a black orchid from Tom Ford, weirdly enough. So it's like an elevated version of that fragrance. Not only that, but I think with Maison, these fragrances, with them being extrait de parfum, I think the oil concentration is massive. And as a result, it doesn't like project loads, but it lasts for a long time on your skin, which to me sometimes makes more of a difference as opposed to it projecting like a beast. I just rather it actually last well on my skin and on my clothes. So this is just beautiful when it starts getting cooler and you want something to warm you up, but again not going into that massive gourmand vibe, but with it having a little bit of a plum resinous kind of feel to it. It's just a really super underrated fragrance from this brand, and I actually discovered Maison when I went to Les Auteurs in London. Beautiful store, by the way. There's some really lovely people who work there, and you know, she was just showing me through all of these fragrances, and the brand actually kindly gifted me this bottle, which is just super, I'm really grateful for. And I do remember them giving me a discount code. It's not an affiliate code, by the way, but if you guys want to save yourself some money, I will link it below. You can also get yourself like a smaller travel size of this. I think they do like 10 or 15 mLs, which come in these really cute bottles. So that's something that I would recommend that you guys do, and using that discount code. So if anyone is into plum or coffee fragrances or honey, anything along those lines, you would love God and Moon from Maison. Now, since I brought it up, I couldn't resist by not including this fragrance. Now, I know that I've spoken about this fragrance quite a number of times on my channel. However, we cannot deny how good this thing is. I love the original Black Orchid, but I know it's not for everyone, and it is a beast of a fragrance. Like, even to this day, no matter how many times they've reformulated that fragrance, it just goes above and beyond. Now, for anyone interested in maybe like a richer, more sticky, sweet, plumber rich fragrance version of the Black Orchid, this is Black Orchid Parfum from Tom Ford. Now you can get this for quite a good discount, and to me, wow, this is so damn good. You can't be the DNA. I mean, the DNA for this thing is just unreal. This is like a more intense, richer, darker version of Black Orchid, which I don't even know if it can exist, because Black Orchid is so rich and full. But this is truffle, which kind of gives like this earthy feel with patchouli, with that like fake orchid kind of thing. But the plum to me is really, really beautiful in this. It almost kind of gives it like this resinous type of feeling to this fragrance. So it's almost like you've added a dash of myrrh, a dash of plum essence, and then some earthiness going on in this fragrance. It's so beautiful, and it's sweet, it's alluring, it's gorgeous. I mean, you can see how much I've worn of it because the bottle is just absolutely disgusting at this point. But to me, this is like a richer, darker version of this fragrance, although this to me is obviously far superior than this, but equally they're kind of both in the same realm, with that plum note, with that earthiness, that slight smokiness and incense kind of vibe going in, you know, with both fragrances. So if you guys want a more inexpensive version, this is beautiful. And with, you know, despite it being a designer fragrance, it's one of those ones that has still kept its fullness, its richness, its beauty. So anyway, from Tom Ford, we have Black Orchid Parfum. Oh my god, the lighting in here is just so weird because it's really gloomy outside. It kind of keeps going in and out. So if I look really weird right now, I'm so sorry. I'm literally trying my best with these like box lights and then it being super dark outside to kind of get something out of this video. But anyway, we'll go on to another fragrance. So the next fragrance that I have here is a favorite of mine, and I've talked about this so many times. So again, sorry if this is a bit redundant for you guys. This is Ella K's Ghibli. Now, for any people who know, this fragrance right here, oh my lord, it's rich, it's fruity, it's almost like a fruit on fruit resin on steroids, and it's like the best way that I can describe this. Although it doesn't actually have any fruity kind of essence in here, it has this golden, sugary, ambery kind of feeling going on in it, and it's one of those fragrances that you really need to sniff in order to experience it. It's just unbelievable. So many layers with it being so simplistic. So this is a majority jasmine, nougat and leather fragrance. Now, you'd think with it having leather in it, you might say, oh my gosh, this is going to go into that super weird, animalic, weird, smoky, masculine vibe. Not in the slightest. This is a smooth suede leather that you have in this fragrance. Not only that, you have the jasmine, which is like a night blooming, rich, exotic, fruity jasmine, if that even exists, with this nougat note. And the nougat note is just out of this world. It adds this layer of sweetness which you cannot describe. As I said, it's like this golden, sugary, fruity extract of a fragrance. It's unbelievable, and it's probably my favorite from Ella K, although they have some really great fragrances. They have Rose de Pushkar, I think, and some other ones. I've tried most of their fragrances and they are all gorgeous in their own capacity, but this, wow, is insane, and it lasts super long. A lot of my friends really love this. Whenever I spray it around them, they always want like a second dose, although a little goes a long way with this. So anyway, if you guys are into more sugary, fruity, resinous, different kind of fragrances, then I think you'd really enjoy this. So from Ella K, we have Ghibli. Now moving on to an entirely different olfactive group. So we have from Penhaligons, Cairo, and for anyone who knows, I mean, this is a really popular fragrance, so I don't even need to give it an introduction. This is a very heavy rose fragrance. Now, the rose in here, to me, plays quite a different style depending on, you know, when you're wearing it and how you're wearing it. To me, this is like an old-fashioned rose in the sense that it's like a red, rich, almost like Bulgarian style of rose. It's very red. It's kind of like has this slight softness as well going on, but also has the backing of the saffron and the incense. And that is what gives it, it's like really quite harsh, but also a very dramatic, rich embodiment of this fragrance. This is for people who like something that will stand out on its own, something that has its own character, and for anyone who is into more richer rose fragrances, this is a beauty. Like, really, you can hardly get anything quite as good as this. What I love about this as well is the fact that it has an oud accord as opposed to a real oud. And some of you might say, well, Pika, like, surely you'd want real oud. And yes, in the grand scheme of things, like, a real resinous oud would be amazing. However, that's not always the case. And like, whenever fragrance houses involve real oud, depending on, you know, what style it is, if it's like a Cambodian oud, sometimes that can go like really animalic, and that's just not for me. Whereas an oud accord is sometimes made from cypriol and other notes which kind of give like a slight smokiness, but not quite the woodiness or the animalic barnyardy style that you get in some other fragrances. And that's what I really enjoy about this. It has this level of smokiness and woodiness that is just gorgeous, and that's coming from the oud accord, and it's just kind of like embodied by this beautiful slightly spicy saffron note, this rose which is very romantic and regal. Overall, it's a gorgeous fragrance. As I said, you can't really get any better than this, and you know, I got this for a good discount at the York outlet, which is sometimes you can get it for a better, more discounted price with it being on outlet. So anyway, from the house of Penhaligons, we have Cairo. Oh, guys, I'm getting tired, and we're not even like properly through this fragrance video as of yet, but I think I need just like a little bit of a break, because I usually film 2 or 3 videos in a go, but I'm struggling today for some reason. So anyway, the next fragrance that I have is unfortunately discontinued. However, I would be lying to you guys if I did not include it in my winter fragrance list. Like, I can't not include it with me simply wearing it, simply not wearing it with the fact that it is discontinued, because it is a really beautiful fragrance. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen, but Loewe has recently launched a new, even more exclusive collection, which I believe has 3 different fragrances within that collection. I will be hopefully doing a review of that, so keep tuned, guys, because I'm going to order the samples very, very soon. However, I have noticed that they've increasingly bumped up the prices more and more so. So I think with these fragrances, they're roughly around 300 or so pounds each, whereas these used to be 180 pounds-ish for however ml this is, 100 ml. And you know, I still love all of the Loewe fragrances, but I do think to myself, you're starting to take advantage of the consumers. Now, I know, being realistic, we are in the luxury market, aren't we? So who am I to say, oh my God, you're taking advantage, you're making people spend a lot more. But at the end of the day, you know, people will spend their money however they deem necessary. So if it is a case that the brand wants to earn more money, fantastic. But let's be honest, I'm going to wait until there is a discount on these new fragrances. With all that being said, I did want to kind of feature a fragrance that I've spoken about before. Now, I always butcher the name, so just like be patient with me. It's El Cielo Sobre la Plaza de Orient, and this is from the Un Paseo por Madrid line. Now, this one unfortunately is discontinued, and they have a lot of discontinued beauties within this line. This one is probably in my top 2 or 3. Things change so much all the time, so dramatically, but this is a beautiful ginger blood orange fragrance. Now, this to me just signifies the Christmas period very well, the holiday period, because you have this kind of like blood orange note within this fragrance. It kind of reminds me of, you know, the panettones, the desserts that you get in the Italian desserts. I love them, by the way. My God, I could literally have one a day if that was even possible. But it kind of has that candied orange kind of bits in it, and it's almost like you have a candied blood orange hint in here. It's been macerating in this beautiful treacle kind of syrup going on, and then on top of that you have a very vibrant ginger note, which just adds like this whole different level to this fragrance. Not only that, but you also have cacao, which adds this powdery element, and you also have a lot of incense and resins in this perfume. So you can imagine the concoction of this really bright blood orange, the zingy spiciness from the saffron, the ginger notes, and then all embodied by this treacly incense thing going on in the background. It's really one of those fragrances that you have to try before you buy. I would never ever recommend to blind buy something like this, because you will never find anything quite like this on the market. It really is one of the most unique fragrances I've ever tried in my life. So anyway, if you guys are interested, if you can still hunt down like a sample or a bottle of it, try El Cielo Sobre la Plaza de Orient from Loewe. So the next fragrance that I have here is from the house of Bvlgari, and a lot of you dragged me in the comments because I wasn't able to pronounce the name. Now, I don't only just speak English, by the way, guys. Just saying, I do not come from an English background. I am not English myself, but obviously Italian is not a language that I know of very well. In fact, I hardly know any Italian phrases, so please be patient with me. Any Italian speakers or any Italians in my comments, please let me know. But I think it's pronounced Baciami, which means kiss me in Italian, and my god, it's one of those fragrances that really, if you were to wear it, I want to kiss me as well, because it's beautiful gardenia, white floral, vanilla, musky kind of fragrance. Now, I would say it's a lot more mature than what people make it out to be. I think I've seen a lot of younger people talk about this fragrance, and really I think it's quite mature. The gardenia in here is not a typical white floral note. Gardenia can be very buttery, almost laundry detergent like, so it's one of those notes that you really need to get accustomed to and you really need to like, because a lot of older fragrances used to feature gardenia, and this is a beautiful buttery, soft, very ultra feminine fragrance, and that mixed with the vanilla, which to me is almost like a very rich vanillin kind of note. It really has a lot of added sweetness, but it's not quite the vanilla that you'd feature in gourmand fragrances. It's a very fleeting, rich, vanilla pod style of note in this fragrance. On top of that, you also have musk in the base. Now, the musk to me is a mixture of a normal musk but also a cashmeran, and the reason why I say that is because you do kind of get like this fluffy, almost laundry detergent vibe from this fragrance, which isn't a bad thing, by the way, but it can be quite nauseating. So for anybody who is not into musk fragrances, for me it kind of like goes between liking it and disliking it depending on kind of what mood I'm in. It's a very strong fragrance, so just keep that in mind. If you find musks nauseating, please try before you buy it. And yeah, I've just loved it every single time that the weather cools down. Like today, for example, it's mega cold outside. I will wear something like this to keep me warm, keep me cozy, but also like quite feminine and beautiful at the same time. So anyway, from Bvlgari we have Baciami. So guys, that is it for today's video. If you did really enjoy it, please like, subscribe. On the road to 10,000 subs, we're very, very nearly there, and I will be doing a massive giveaway, by the way, so when we do get to that spot, I'm really excited to do that with you guys. So I hope you all have a really lovely weekend, and I will catch you soon. Bye.